See, the beauty of shark movies is that a list of the best shark films and a list of the worst shark films can have crossover. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Horror Reviews. We are over halfway through Shark Week, so to celebrate, I wanted to do a list of the best shark films in my opinion. I've got seven films for you today. These are in no particular order, except for the first one is just a personal favorite of mine. Let's kick things off with number 7, which is the Blake Lively starring shark film, The Shallows. This is a PG-13 shark film, but this is one of those that's just a really fun sort of action thriller shark film. It's one person versus one shark in the ocean, trying to get to shore, trying to get to safety, and you've just got that like secluded element of 1v1 and pulling out all the stops, trying to get creative, trying to survive the shark attack in the ocean with nobody around, a private beach, and Blake Lively's really good in it. This one is directed by Wame Colette Sarah. I'm sure I butchered his name, but he directed Unknown, Orphan, and personal favorite of mine, the House of Wax remake. So he's got a very like specific style that comes through in a lot of his films. I don't know what exactly to call it, but it's kind of like fun, almost like on the edge of teen slasher, like action adventure films, if that makes any sense. But he definitely has like a style to each of his films, and I like him as a director. So as I mentioned, this one is PG-13. There's not a lot of gore or anything on display, not no crazy like shark attacks. There's, of course, a little bit of suspend your disbelief in moments in here, which are going to be in like all of these films. But I like the creative elements that they write, the sort of pieces that she uses, that Blake Lively uses, that she has on her, that she finds in the ocean, things that she does to outsmart the shark and get creative to inevitably get away. And again, Blake Lively really carries this film. She has to. She has a lot riding on her shoulders. She is, you know, the sole character. But I do like how they also make the shark feel like a strong character in this film. It doesn't almost feel like just some crazy shark. It feels like this shark has it out for her. It's vindictive. It's really like set its eyes on Blake Lively's character, and it's not going to stop until it gets her. The Shallows is beautifully shot. Gorgeous location. The other element, as I kind of mentioned, that I think this one really does well in particular is the fact that she is so close to shore. And it's not like in the middle of the ocean. It's not like some crazy, like extreme boat full of like people that are escaping sharks. One person really close to the shore. It's like survival is right there, but there's just no one around. And there's that element of like, she's so close. Maybe she can make it, but how is she going to get there? That I think really works for this film. Next up, number 6, let's talk about the classic Jaws from 1975. And this is, of course, just the quintessential shark film. This is the film that I think no one can say is like, oh, you have to suspend your disbelief, or it's a shark film, or it's fun that it's bad. This is a solid and genuinely terrifying in its elements film. This is the film, of course, that did it all, that really kicked off the trajectory of the massive shark films that we have today. And of course, this is the one that really started that concept of the fear of sharks on the beach and vacation. Fantastic directing by Steven Spielberg, fantastic acting by Roy Schneider, and just amazing practical effects. Of course, everyone knows the story behind Jaws and the less is more concept, but the music, talk about the music, John Williams. I mean, how can you beat that? This, of course, there's many shark films that have been made, and some people love them no matter what they are. You know, people are going to generally watch them when they pop up on Netflix. Some are really good at being bad. Some are really good and just have cheesy elements in here. Some have been pretty serious and intense and done a good job at that, but none, I don't believe, have compared to Jaws since. Coming in at number 5 is technically 3 films, but I wasn't going to give them different spots, and that is the open water films, and I genuinely like all of them. They have their issues. I understand that. They're based on a true life event, which that concept alone is terrifying. The first film is a little hard to watch because of the way it's filmed. Well, they're all a little hard to watch because of the way they're filmed, but specifically the first film, it looks pretty bad, but there's something so raw and real about that, how it's filmed and the realism in that. And of course, again, just remembering that this is a true story based off a couple that were left out in the middle of the ocean, left stranded when they're meant to be taken back, and just an accident, a slip up leaves people out to never be discovered again. There's so much bleakness in that ending of not really knowing what happens to them. There's something just really dark about that. And I think that, again, talking about the sequels, I like the sequel. Now, it's a little bit more ridiculous concept of like not being able to get on your own boat, but that in alone is terrifying. This like simple mistake that you just overlook. And it's like, holy cow, you can be in this crazy predicament by just not thinking, just having a good time and a simple mistake. And then the third one, the uncaged, or that's 47 meters down, but being cage dive is what it's called. I think this one does the cage dive element much better than 47 meters down uncaged does. This one also really works for me. Again, at this point, you've kind of got the concept of the films and the way that they are made. But again, I still think it works. It's a good film. I think the first and second are stronger, but all three of these films are genuinely good shark films, as well as just good, like, you know, bleak, dark, alone, no help, no survival, you know, films that really could put a damper on your Shark Week. Coming in at number 4 is the 2017 film 47 Meters Down. Now, I personally prefer this one over its sequel. I didn't really like the sequel at all, so it's not going to make this list, but I genuinely enjoyed 47 Meters Down. Again, this is one of those you're going to go in and you just got to kind of like sign up. You know what you signed up for. You got to like suspend your disbelief. You understand you're watching a shark film. But where this one is a little bit different is it does still play with intensity. There's intense moments and there's still serious elements here. It's just not ridiculous and over the top. There is an attempt at building suspense and, again, some creative storytelling when they're stuck under the water. I think that this one is a good time, as well as, like I said, actually building up some moments where you're holding your breath, anticipation, wondering what's going to happen, how they're going to escape this. And then, again, great concept of 47 meters down. You know, it's a very specific number, similar to TheShallows. It's like hope is right there. You can see it. It's within reach. But how do you get there? You know, how do you get away from this element that you're stuck in when there's something in your way trying to kill you? And coming in at number 3 is Shark Night, or Shark Night 3D, as it was titled when it came out. Now, this is another PG-13 shark film. This one was directed by David R. Ellis, and I'm a fan of the guy. You know, he doesn't make rock solid, you know, serious horror films, but he makes films that I have a lot of fun with. Homeward Bound 2, San Francisco. Anyone remember that? That was my favorite growing up as a child. He directed Final Destination 2, which I think is a solid sequel. He also directed The Final Destination, which a lot of people hate, and it was, again, riding that 3D craze. Lots of CG blood and some really poor looking digital effects, but I enjoy that film. I think it's a solid, fun sequel if you know what you're getting in for. Again, that being said, he infuses a lot of that fun and those elements into Shark Night, or Shark Night 3D, which is a ridiculous story about sharks in a lake. But the thing that this one does really well, that caters to my taste, is it's like a teen slasher film, quite literally as close as you can get to a teen slasher film, but with sharks. And it's a bunch of teen college kids going away for, I believe it's spring break, this one, and they're all going to this like expensive house where they have to take a boat to get to it. And again, this is a lake, and all of a sudden there are sharks in the lake. Now again, this one is ridiculous. Of course, it's over the top, but it plays itself a little bit seriously like a teen slasher film, and I enjoy that. It gets a little bit over the top, but not in the terms of like it's trying to be comedic. It's not Sharknado. It's just going for like some ridiculous kills and things like that, which it's hard to say are grounded in this world because like they're not, but if you understand what I'm saying, they're not Sharknado, they're just ridiculous. And so, as I said, this just infuses a lot of fun, a lot of energy into this film. I really enjoy it. I love the villains in this film. Besides the what's going on in this film, and I'm not going to like spoil it exactly, but go in just understanding what this movie is, and I think you'll have a really good time. The only unfortunate thing is this should have been an R-rated film. I don't know why it's not. This is like exactly the type of film that should have just been R-rated, and it would have been known exactly what it is. To give us some gore, give us some practical effects there, and it would have been a great, even better film. Coming in number 2, let's talk about the 2010 film, The Reef. Now, if we're talking about serious shark films actually make the shark feel like they're scary and intense and really provide that element well, if that's what you're going for, rather than like a fun shark film. This is the other one that does it really well. You know, you've got Jaws, does it the best, and then you've got Open Water that does that like bleak, dark concept very well. This one, in my opinion, does the, I guess, isolation, fear of a shark nearby trying to escape the next best. It builds a lot of tension. There's an element in this film that I really like where the characters kind of have to make a decision and split up, and you don't know like which one's going to be more safe, which is the better decision. One seems more dumb, but is it the dumb decision? Which one turns out better? And I really like that element. I think that works really well in the favor of this film. And then also on top of that, there's a little bit of that bleak element of not knowing exactly what happened to certain characters and what happens. I think it does that really well. This, again, in my opinion, is like the most serious in tone and the darkest of these shark films, if that's what you're interested in. One thing about The Reef is it's shot pretty, like it looks really ugly. No matter which version you see, even if you watch the trailer, I haven't been able to find something that looks high quality. It looks real bad. Not that it's shot poorly, it just looks like 720p, really bad quality, and I haven't been able to find a good quality stream anywhere. There is also a sequel to The Reef Stalked, I believe it's called. There's a sequel to a couple of these films on this list that I have not seen yet. I can't imagine that it's any good, but I will check it out at some point. Just be aware, hey, if you're interested in watching another one after watching The Reef, there is a sequel. And coming in at number 1 on my list is a personal favorite, and that's the 1999 film Deep Blue Sea. Now, this is hopping back on the ridiculousness, but it's not quite to the extremes of like Sharknado. It still is grounded in terms of it's got like a story element going on. I really like this concept of these people trying to find a cure to Alzheimer's. So they're on this floating like research facility in the middle of the ocean, and you know, they're playing with sharks' minds and genetically modifying them, and guess what? Things go wrong. You got Samuel L. Jackson in here, you got LL Cool J. This one was directed by Rennie Harlan, and in my opinion, personal opinion, this is just a fun as heck film. This is the one that when I saw it, you know, years ago, has been just a revisit for me year after year. When I want to put on a shark film, I'm generally going to go for Deep Blue Sea. Again, it's the most fun for me. I love some of those sequences with LL Cool J in the kitchen area where they're like waist deep in water, and it's just like he's just wading through and you don't know where the shark is or if there is a shark. Him and his bird, great sequences, great elements there. I love the elements where, you know, they're diving into the cage and trying to outswim the sharks and trying to like trap them and outsmart them. Of course, there's like a ridiculous scene where the shark breaks through the glass of the research facility, but you know, knowing what you're going in for, if you've never seen Deep Blue Sea, it's a 90s film, and it is a solid action, adventure, comedy, horror film with sharks. A super fun time. If you've never seen Deep Blue Sea, absolutely recommend checking it out. This one also, funny enough, has a sequel. Actually has 2 sequels, and I have not seen either of them. I have very low hopes for them, but again, hey, if you've never seen Deep Blue Sea, you watch it. Just be aware, there's 2 sequels you could check out if you're interested. And that's my list, everybody. These are the 7 shark films that I personally go to when I want to see a shark film. These are 7 of my favorites that I consider to be the best in each of their categories and different styles. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please let me know what your favorite shark film is down below, no matter what it is. But if it's on this list, let me know which one on this list as well is your favorite. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I'm running scared on a big bad wolf. I never see the silver lining, only see the gold. I don't speak in caps, dog, everything bold. And I put that on myself cause it's a life that I done chose. I said come through, you can see me on the west side. Now it's funny how they walking with their chest.